Hi everyone, it's Miss Akvari in the library, and I wanted to tell you just a little bit about the nonfiction graphic novel In the Shadow of the Fallen Towers. The seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, and years after the 9/11 attacks. And this is written and illustrated by Don Brown. He did a ton of research to write and illustrate this book. He used 107 different sources to create this 100-page book. So the amount of research that he did, the amount of factual information that he's using, and then the illustrations that he creates really shows you the events of 9/11 in New York City, at the Pentagon, on the crashed flight, United Flight 93, really shows you what that was like. I learned a lot of facts that I hadn't really heard of before reading this book. The first thing that I thought was really interesting, this is actually a picture of people leaving the World Trade Center, and I'd heard about this where because of the buildings coming down, there was so much dust and debris in the air, and you can see the people kind of looked like ghosts. What I didn't know about is there were also people fleeing to the Hudson River, and there were boats in the river that were coming to the shore and picking people up. That was another way that people escaped the area of the World Trade Center. Another thing I learned was just kind of the impact of having these two buildings coming down. Here's a scene of the wreckage, and you can see firefighters, first responders are there. They did find survivors, which is amazing. But all in all, there were 150 million tons of wreckage when these buildings came down. The wreckage was stacked 11 stories high, but half of that was actually underground because the force was so strong that it collapsed, under the ground. The fires that started as on 9/11 continued for months, which made working there so dangerous. In fact, the death toll of people that have died since 9/11 because of complications is either close to or has already outstripped the number of people who died in the events that day. It took 8 months and 19 days for them to actually get everything moved away. The book also goes through getting a memorial started and kind of what things were like on the anniversary. And you can see here, there's a tradition of reading each victim's name aloud, and you can see that here. And one of the statements he makes at the end, I think, is really important to keep in mind. So it says, "In the shadow of the fallen towers, there is grief and sadness. Yet is a shared grief and sadness that maybe, just maybe, binds wounds, slackens pain, and shores up the country." And so what he's saying is, this is a horrible event that happened, but it's a grief that we all share, and maybe that helps to heal. If you like graphic novels, if you're curious about the historical events of 9/11, or if you just want to know more, you may want to check out this book, In the Shadow of the Fallen Towers.